Hey guys, Ouija here. Long time no see. Long story short, I wanted to take a break from making videos because I wasn't testing for any major events and just wanted to use that extra time to spend more with loved ones. But now that Road to National season's coming up, I want to qualify for Nationals and go to that. So just want to kind of get right back in the swing of things. And let's kick it off by talking about Riptide. I've been playing Riptide ever since spoiler season. For outsiders, absolutely love this hero. New favorite hero. I just think he is underexplored at the moment, considering everyone has him in F tier. I just don't think that's correct. He may not be the best hero in the format, but he's definitely not F tier. He definitely has game into every matchup, I'd say. Dromai being the most difficult. So yeah, I just wanted to make this quick video. I'm gonna go over every card briefly. If you guys want, I can make a more in-depth video later. I also want to do some Talshar gameplay videos with the deck, showing you some of the ins and outs. So yeah, let's just talk about the deck. Riptide. So his hero ability, whenever you play a card from hand, you're able to put the card face down to your arsenal. Super good. Loading for free. Being able to fire multiple arrows a turn, great. And whenever a trap is triggered, he deals 1 damage to the opponent. This can come in quite often, especially in the late game, and just get in incremental damage that adds up over the course of the game. Bullseye bracers. I don't think anything is really needed to be said here. It's just a super good card to have explosive turns. You could load a bolt and shot, give it +1, has to go again. Threaten the reload, or late game, if it gets down to, single digit life, you're forced to block with your entire hand. You have 1 card in hand. You can load an endless arrow with bullseye, things like that. Crown of Providence, the best helmet in the game currently, well, generic helmet in the game. Allows you to get around CNCs, leave no witness, things that disrupt your arsenal, and also whenever you just draw a crazy hand, you can make it even more crazy with a 5-card hand if you need more resources or things like that. So yeah, just super good helmet. Death Dealer. I think this is just the go-to bow right now for Riptide. Being able to draw the extra card is just invaluable. A lot of time ripping a buff off the top, or pitching a red, loading an infecting shot, using the card you drew to pitch for the infecting shot, things like that. Quiver Abyssal Depths, super good. It's just basically a free slot. Really, it's used for in the Oldhim match, and sometimes the Lexi match can go really long. And also you can just do some cool tricks with it, like if somebody pummels you, you can just pitch your entire hand just to save all those cards. If you know it's going to be a long game, like against Oldhim or something like that. So, super good. Snapdragons, just super good boots, allowing to target everything in the deck to give go again. When you want to have those explosive turns. Trench of Sunken Treasure. I've tried both Trench and Tunic. I just think Trench is just more consistent. Allows you a lot more flexibility, especially with this deck. Being able to sink traps. Your opponent, sometimes maybe they just draw a super bad hand and pass turn. You don't want to be stuck with that trap in Arsenal. So, or defense reaction in Arsenal. So Trench just helps you get out of there, gives you the resource, gives you the Death Dealer reload, things like that. Bolt and Shot, one of the best arrows in the game. It's just super good, especially in Riptide. Whenever you can play a buff like Lace with Bloodrot, give it the plus, give it the go again. And a lot of times your opponent may want to block it to stop the reload, but a lot of times that's just a mistake because Riptide just doesn't care about the reload, because oftentimes he has another buff with another arrow that he's just going to reload for free anyways. So your opponent can just fall into that trap and block it out for no reason. So Bolt and Shot, super good, running the reds and the yellows. Drill Shot, just super value card against especially the Guardians, Oldhim, Bravo, things like that, just to get the armor. Also good in just every other matchup, just getting that 1 point of damage or armor block on the opponent's armor is just super good. They usually want to just block with the armor, or they just feel super bad about blocking it. So Drill Shot, just super good arrow. Endless Arrow, nothing needs to be said. It's just basically a ranger weapon. Snatch, that draws another snatch. Get it back with Codex of Frailty, things like that. Endless Arrow is just super good, and managing your Endless Arrows is also something in this deck that you want to keep in mind. Sometimes you may want to block with an Endless Arrow early because you have a Codex of Frailty just to get it back. So yeah. And Lightning Strike, just a super good generic card. This deck, you are oftentimes, unless your opponent just doesn't present anything too scary, you are presenting just super good 2-card hands. A Lace with Bloodrot, load, Endless Arrow. Now you're threatening 7 with the Bloodrot, that's 9. Or Lace with Bloodrot, Searing Shot, that's a potential 10 damage. So a 2-card 10, pretty good. And Lightning Strike just kind of fits that scope. 2-card 7, 2-card draw, 2-card go again. Just super good. And also, like in the Ranger Mirror, if they Codex of Frailty, whatever, they do their thing, and Lightning Strike kind of just gets around the Frailty because you can just play it from hand for like a 7 or something, just block out whatever else they throw at you. So just super flexible. So yeah, E-Strike's Falcon Wings, super good arrow. It's only 3, which they can just block with 1 card, but a lot of times they don't want to block with 1 card just for 3 damage. Especially knowing that there's potential on hits coming after this. So Falcon Wings, super good arsenal target. Yeah, just super good arrow. A lot of times it's just a free 3 damage. So yep. Yeah, Infecting Shot, we're playing the reds and the yellows. Just super good value. Yeah, you buff this thing with any lace, you Death Dealer, you Infecting Shot for 8 with the Blood Rot. It's just super good, especially against aggro decks that just can't really pay for the Blood Rots. It's basically just free damage. So Infecting Shot, just one of the best arrows of recent memory. Lace with Blood Rot. Pump, helps you reload. It's basically 0 for 5 most of the time. If they pay for it, you don't care about that either. Like, they're just getting more cards out of their hand, not attacking you, allowing you more time to kill them. So, yep. Lace with Inertia, super good, especially against Oldhim, Lexi, really anything. Most decks just want to have an arsenal. This kind of, maybe they can't utilize their entire hand efficiently. But yeah, or maybe they just throw your whole hand and throw their whole hand and, whatever. But it's just super good against Rangers and Oldhim, really. And it's just a pump. So, yeah. Premeditate, super good card. Threatening the Ponder is just super good, especially when you're attacking twice in a turn. You're more than likely going to get that Ponder token to replenish your arsenal. So yeah, Premeditate is just must have, just super good. And also, you can just Premeditate, load like an E-Strike for 10, things like that. Or Rabble, if there's a lot of plays that you can do with Premeditate since it buffs the next thing from arsenal. And it's the next time an attack action hits, so to create the Ponder it's just super value. Ravenous Rabble, insanely good card. Often comes in for 4. Looking at the top card of your deck is super valuable in here, just to know there's just some situations where you may want a Death Dealer, you may not. So being able to see what's on top of the deck is super good. When you can Death Dealer in a 0-cost arrow, draw a buff off the top, knowing that it's there with Ravel, and just fire your 0-cost arrow for 7 damage plus whatever on hits is just super good. Ravenous Rabble is also often a lot of times free damage because they just know that your other arrows with on hits are probably more important to block. So yeah, super good there. Remorseless, also super good arrow, and any aggro matchup, and even in things like Oldhim, like just clogging up their arsenal, not being able to play D-Rax from there. This goes well with Dreadbore, not being able to play D-Rax from their hand. So it can make some of their turns super awkward and potentially leak some damage. So Remorseless is just a super good arrow. Searing Shot, super value arrow. Basically a 0 for 5 if they don't block it. yeah, it's just this deck. You don't want to be afraid to block. You can just fire one arrow and just be fine with that. Just get the incremental value, chip them down, block out, wait until you have your explosive turn. So Searing Shot is just super good, especially in the late game when you can create those awkward breakpoints to where, say they're at 2 health and they have to basically give 3 cards or die. If they give 2-3 blocks, they're gonna leak 2 and just die. So it's just super good, especially in the late game. So yeah, Seek and Destroy, super good. Basically laced with inertia, but better because it just discards their hand and arsenal. So it's just a pump, help you reload. Sikkim Shot, running 2 in red. Just a super solid arrow. Again, it's kind of like Falcon Wing and Ravenous Rabble, to where they don't really want to block this because it's just vanilla damage most of the time. You can buff it, say with a Premeditate, to guarantee that Ponder, because you're coming in with a second arrow. But yeah, Sikkim Shot, it's super good. You want to arsenal it along with things like Falcon Wing, things that just have natural go again, so you can utilize your free reload and Death Dealer for other things. So yeah, 2 Sikkim Shots, super good. One of the best cards in the deck, in my opinion, Sigil of Solace. I just think this card's insane, especially in this deck, especially in this meta. 1 in Riptide, it's a free reload. You draw it turn 0. It helps you just get a free 5-card hand if you're going second. It saves you in so many times. There's just so many things that you can do with this card. You can bait them to CNC your arsenal, and you just play Sigil from arsenal, block with 3. It's just super good. Like, you always know that you're playing with 9 extra health, but your opponent doesn't until you play the first one. So just having that knowledge, and your opponent may be playing in a way to think they can kill you, but in reality they can't, and it's just a super good card. Sigil of Solace, yeah, run this card in my opinion. Sink Below, it's just a super good generic defense reaction that stops a lot of breakpoints. You can argue that, oh well, why don't you run traps? You're playing Riptide. I just think the 4 breakpoint is super good, and a lot of times it helps fix your hand. So yeah, I just Sink Below, personal preference, and the meta helps stops endless arrows, leave no witness, anything like that. I just think Sink Below, super good. 2 Codex of Bloodrot. This is a card I added recently. I've really liked it. I think this is a flex spot for sure, but I just think Codex of Bloodrot is interesting. 1, it's in the aggro matchup. It's basically a 2 free damage and replenish your arsenal at the end of the turn, and it helps you reload 0 cost arrows. And also, if you play this from arsenal, you can still reload, essentially, because Codex lets you put a card from hand in arsenal. So I just think it's super flexible, but basically think of this card as 2 damage, replenish your arsenal at the end of the turn, which is super good, especially like in the Ranger Mirror. Whenever they Codex Frailty you have a Codex of Bloodrot in hand, you have more Ponder options. So you can, yeah, or like if they have inertia on you or things like that, you can trigger the inertia and trigger the Ponder. Just more Ponder options, super good. Codex Frailty, I don't think anything needs to be said about this card. Just insanely good card, and allows you to play 1 card hands, like replenish your arsenal. This card is just crazy in the Ranger Mirror. So yeah, definitely run all 3. Buzzsaw Trap, one of Riptide's legendary traps. Insanely good card against especially things like Azalea, Lexi, depending on, they're pumping their arrows, things like that. Just a generically good card. Dorinthia, anything like that. Insanely good. Collapsing Trap, the best trap that we have. Also legendary. When this defends an attack with Go Again, they discard their hand and draw that many -1. Just insanely good against any deck that wants to go wide, especially whenever you presented a bunch of damage. You keep this card in hand, and they didn't want to block because say their turn they thought was more nuts and you collapsing trap them, they just went super neg and you are now winning the game. So collapsing trap, just insanely good. You might notice that we're not running the snake pit trap. I just think that card is just too narrow, not really relevant in any matchups besides like Uzuri, like consistently. And oftentimes it's just a blue block 3, which I just don't think we need in the deck. So yeah, that's the core 60. Really, none of these cards ever come out. In Riptide, we are perfectly fine with playing more than the 60 cards. Just, yeah, like it's perfectly fine playing more than 60 cards. I often play 66, and even in the older mirror, or not mirror, in the older matchup, you just play the pile basically, and you're perfectly fine with that. So, but the sideboard is 3 Feltry traps, insanely good against Lexi. If they're not familiar with the matchup and they bolt and shot, giving it +1 to Voltaire, you Frailty trap. Now it's not bigger than its base. Now they just have no go again, and their entire turn is shut down. And if they play around it and they give bolt and shot go again, you're perfectly fine with that too. It's just now they're just doing vanilla damage and not getting the free reload, unless they have things like Rain Razors or whatever. But Frailty trap just super insane. Also good against the assassins like Uzuri. Inertia trap, also insanely good against Lexi. There's just so many cards that are good against Lexi. Frailty trap, inertia trap, lace with inertia, just things like that. Inertia trap, giving her the inertia token, not letting her get an arsenal unless she, of course, has like a heat seeker or a ponder, things like that. But you make her have it. Oftentimes her arrows are coming in for above their base, so yeah, inertia trap super good. Also really good against Oldhim, denying him an arsenal. Makes it infinitely more harder for him to block your arrows and not leak damage. So yeah, Boulder trap, good against Guardians, Oldhim, Bravo. This is interesting because Boulder trap, if they are running Rampart, I honestly think Riptide has a good matchup into Oldhim. Like especially with the Dreadbore, depending on what they're running, I've played against every Oldhim. If they're running Rampart and you Boulder trap them, they have a lot harder time blocking your breakpoints. And also, I played against Anathos, where they just swing for 6 every turn. I was able to fatigue them. I've played against Oldhims that do nothing but block, and they just swing Titan's Fist for 3. They don't even buff their Titan's Fist to allow not to trigger Boulder Trap. So Boulder Trap is interesting. I think it's still relevant. You make them play that way because of Boulder Trap. Yeah, it's just a super good card against Oldhim and the Bravo. Triple Remembrance. I recently put this in because of all those Oldhims. The games can still go extremely long. Well, not extremely, like you can finish in time pretty easily. But long in the sense that they're just trying to fatigue you. So Triple Remembrance, I found necessary. I was running 2, but some of those games can get a little grindy to where if you have one more, I think you just win. So yeah, I'm running the Triple Remembrance. Good against, like I said, Oldhim. I think it's good against Uzuri, like if they're trying to fatigue you or whatever. Some Dorinthas are trying to fatigue you. Things like that. So Triple Remembrance, just solid. Dreadbore, like I was saying, we run into Oldhim. Clogging up his hand with cards that he just can't play, like all the D-reacts, is just super good. Can make him leak damage and give you a read on his hand, so you oftentimes know whenever he puts the Sink Below into Arsenal. So you can kind of plan around that. And yeah, Dreadbore is just super good. Gives your Bolt and Shot +1, so you can just give it go again for nothing. Yeah, Dreadbore, really good. Also, I'm not sure what I like more into Dromai, Dreadbore or Death Dealer. It's really hard to say. I'm not running any poppers in the deck. I just found the matchup to be so bad that I'd rather just race them and just pray, basically, and just make room for other things and just make other matchups more consistent. So that's my thought process there. And against Uzuri, I also play Dreadboard because she's often playing a lot of D-reacts. can make her hands pretty awkward too, and also give you a tell whenever they have D-React and Arsenal, just like Oldham. So yeah, Dreadbore, super good. Vambrace of Determination. I'm just running this into Oldham for Crown of Seeds. A lot of times when you're playing Dreadbore and Vambrace, you often have extra resources to use for Vambrace. So not only are you just making their hand super awkward with all the D-Reacts they're running, if they're running Rampart, you know, that's fine. But now their Crown is basically useless because of Vambrace. And you're just making it awkward for them, trying to just leak damage, things like that. So, yep. That's the deck. I just wanted to go over, I made a list of some cards that you can experiment with. Command and Conquer, obviously good in the Ranger. It's a popper. You can, like I said, nothing I say is gospel. This is just a deck that works for me personally. I found it really good. But if there's any changes you want to make, I mean, there's definitely some flex slots. Like, I know not everyone's on Sigil, not everyone's on Sync, most people aren't on Codex of Bloodrot. So a lot of these are flex slots. You don't have to run all three of these traps. You don't have to run Remembrance. So if you just wanted some ideas on other things that you can replace these with, I made a list here. Command and Conquer, like I said, good against Rangers. Popper, Death Touch. I'm just not on Death Touch. I find the resource to pay for this is just extremely awkward, and I'd rather just fire an arrow, like an infecting shot, and basically do the same thing. It's also a popper, which is nice, but I don't know. I just think Dromai is just such a bad matchup. I don't even think it's worth it. But Down and Dirty, you can block with it from Arsenal, specifically for Dromai. Yeah, like I said, I just think Dromai is just so bad it just doesn't matter. Hamstring Shot. I've seen some Lexis play this. Makes a lot of sense on why. So this is something that you can experiment with, making Oldham's hands cost more, Dromai's hands cost more. Yep. Lace with Frailty. This is just if you want a hardcore tech against Lexi. Lace with Frailty can make them either want to block or just make their turn a lot worse, giving them the -1. So it's really good. Nimblism, if you just want more buffs. Razor Reflex. I've tried this card. It's good when it's good, but like a lot of times it's just kind of clunky for me in this specific build. But if it's something you want to try, you can do that. Scar for Scar. Another just 0-4 go again if you're below on life. I just don't like playing from below life. And I just don't like the 2-block, so that's why I'm not running it. Scout the Periphery. Super can be good. Just kind of like Ravenous Rabble, allows you to see off the top, seeing what you're going to Death Dealer into is nice. Sedation Shot, good against Oldham, Lexi, giving him the inertia or threatening the inertia. Sleep Dart, can get against Dromai, turning off her hero ability, turning off Lexi, making her not able to flip. So that's good, especially, you know, like if Lexi, if you shoot it and it hits, maybe they have like a Winter's Bite or more specifically, you know, Arctic Incarceration that they can't flip up anymore. Can make it super awkward for them. Virulent Touch, super good in the late game, not so much early game. It's pretty much a Codex of Frailty target that can just leak damage because of the Blood Rot, and maybe they're forced to block. They make the Blood Rot. They don't have a blue. It can just be super good. I'd run this as a one of, potentially. Withering Shot, again, good in the mirror. Frailty token, or not the mirror, the Rangers. Not so much as Yelia, but Lexi. Codex of Inertia. Haven't done much testing with this. I just don't like the idea of putting a random card in my arsenal. And yeah, I mean, it's good to guarantee the inertia against Oldham and Lexi, but I'm just not sure how I feel about it. It's something you can play with, though. Pitfall Trap. I was running one. I liked it. The 3 damage can come in super clutch, especially in the late game. I don't know. I just... Sometimes it was pretty awkward. If you're going to run this card, I'd only run it at 1, personally. But, yeah, something you can try with. Tar Pit Trap. Another good trap. Can stop crazy on hits from things like Briar, Lexi, and then like I said, the Spike Pit Trap. I just don't think it's relevant in enough matchups to warrant the slot. It's just basically a blue block 3. So yeah, these are the options here. That's basically the deck. I'll put the link below so you can test it on Talishar. Let me know what you think. I do think this deck takes a lot of reps. It's not something that's easy to grasp at first, how to utilize everything. If you guys want, I can make a more in-depth guide going over every card and every sort of synergy in the deck, things that you want to do, plays you can do, tricky things you can do. So if you guys would like that, please let me know in the comments. Yeah, but besides that, that's the deck. I do plan on recording some Talishar games just to kind of show you some of the play patterns, things like that. Having Talishar has made things so much easier than recording on like tabletop and having to edit and all that. So that is something that I'm looking forward to. And I don't know, maybe we can do some live streams of gameplay. But yeah, just let me know what you guys want in the comments, and I'll try to do that for you. But until next time, just like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.